All right, let's welcome in our guest, Travis Kelce. Travis, thank you so much for joining us on a Monday. You guys just coming off a win against the Eagles. We're going to get to that in a second. Yep. Tommy's going to be pissed. Some of our listeners might be pissed. I got to start with some golf talk, though.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Start it off right. Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
So I have recently been bitten by the golf bug in the last year. It's really nice. all I think about, all I sort of think about, do all that stuff. When did you start getting into it? Did you start as a kid, or did you start once you got to the NFL?
I actually started playing when I was like 10 years old. My dad, it was like a little tournament for 10-year-olds that you could go around. You throw the cart on the little the wheelie, like the tri-wheelie thing, and you would just wheel your bags around the course at like 7 a.m. and your parents would come pick you up at noon. So I actually started young, and then just sporadically just kind of always had a set of clubs around. For me to say that I started at 10 years old and where my game is right now probably isn't the best thing because I mean, I'm not that great. I just go out there and have fun, man. I know that bug you're talking about though, man. Once you get into it, it's like, it's a competitive cycle with yourself, and you have fun going out there and hitting the ball, man.
I spent about an hour today in total on the Gin app trying to find you and your home course. I was looking up your name state by state. I couldn't find it anywhere. Are you down to share your handicap with us?
My handicap, I don't even see when I go out there, I just try and hit great shots. You know what I mean? When it comes down to actually keeping score, I'm not going to lie. There's a few that go into the woods that I don't count.
This is my kind of golf.
I'm just not. I'm not about to count the first one off the tee if it just goes straight into the water. I'm not doing. That's not. I just, you know what I mean. That was a mully. I'm not playing this thing professionally. So I'm probably around like a 12, 15 if I actually kept score. But that's just because I'm getting up to the tee box and I'm swinging my hardest at the ball every single time.
How's your drive?
No, see, that's the thing. That's what I have most fun with is those par fives where you can absolutely just murder the ball or hit it as hard as you can like that. When I hit it on the sweet spot, man, that keeps me coming back every single time. But that's probably the best part of my game. Everything else is just a work in progress.
You and I could compete against each other well. I'm in that range too for my handicap. So we're probably similar. I probably don't hit it as far as you. You've played in the American Century Championship, I think twice now.
Yeah.
I have yet to play in a pro-am like that with actual fans. People at TV cameras watching your shots. Is that more nerve-wracking than an NFL game?
I will straight up tell people, hey, you guys have to back up now. And you know what I mean? I'm not screaming down at the green like, hey, watch out. You know what I mean? But if I'm on the tee box and I see like kids or people in range, I'll politely ask them to move. I'm not dealing with that, man. That is that's a messy situation waiting to happen. But I think it's the American Century. Every single year I've gone has been a blast. I mean, just to meet guys throughout, other sports, guys that I grew up watching, like Jerome Bettis and you name it, man. Vince Carter, just cool, guys that I idoled growing up. To see them kind of, just be themselves and get to know who they are as people, and to, just have a conversation with them. And that's what it's all about. The golf is always just, secondary. I feel like when we go out there, if we hit a good shot, we hit a good shot.
I'm hoping to get that invite next year. I'm hoping to get that invite. It'd be my first time. I got the invite when I played in LA, but I was just not. I probably was like a 20, whatever the highest handicap is. I was at that time. And
nice.
I wasn't prepared to do it. Why do you think? Why do you think so many professional athletes, non-golfers, get into the game either while they're playing or as they're finishing up? What do you think it is about golf that's so attractive to other professional athletes?
I think it pushes that competitive edge that we were talking about, whether it's personally or, you get a foursome and you play with your buddies or other people. It's something that at leisure you can still compete and you can go out, have a good time, play some good music. If you're into that, loud music while you're golfing. I like to play some AC/DC as I'm walking up to the tee. But I think for the most part, it keeps that competitiveness, that, the athletic ability. It challenges guys to keep getting better at something. And that routine that we get as professional athletes to always want to get better at some aspect of our game. I think that translates into golf so easily, coming no matter what sport you played.
So Travis, speaking of athletes, you played 3 sports in high school. How good were you at basketball?
I mean, I like to think I was pretty damn good, but I don't know. I had a few offers. A lot of them were MAC offers in terms of basketball, and then a few Big East offers. And I actually went to the University of Cincinnati to play both sports. Basketball was going to be the secondary sport, it being the second season in terms of like timeline. So I ended up getting the football scholarship and then an opportunity to play basketball. I really only played over the summer with the guys on the hoop squad. But I mean, I thought I could shoot. I thought I could play some defense. The handles were where it got a little suspect. I was like that switch 3 and 4. Like if a guy was bigger than me, I could take him out on the wing, and if he was smaller than me, then I usually could do some work in the paint. But yeah, I don't know. A 6'5" power forward didn't sound great in the future. You know what I mean? So. A 6'5" tight end kind of sounded a little bit more in reach.
I love when people who don't play a particular sport at a high level compare themselves or like try to talk about their game in a certain way. No, it's just funny, there's people that play pickup and they'll come up to me like, "Yo, I try to shoot like you when I play, but clearly you can't shoot like me." So one of the ongoing sort of dialogues that happens in sports is LeBron as an NFL player. Do you think that he could be an NFL tight end?
1,000%, man. 1,000%. His athleticism just translates so well onto the football field. Not a lot of the one thing that I've experienced being in the tight end room in Kansas City is we've actually had 4 guys come into the building as basketball from like just playing straight college basketball. And trying to make the transition into the tight end room because it's the skill sets match up so well. And the biggest thing that I've seen is just, guys in basketball are always on their toes. Even when they're sprinting, they're on their toes. They're not really taking big strides. And that's one thing that I've seen out of LeBron is his strides are enormous when he's running. And he knows how to play with acceleration, deceleration, and things like that to kind of have his own tempo throughout the game. So I think all of that stuff would translate perfectly onto the field. He'd probably just be the LeBron James of the NFL instead of the LeBron James of the NBA.
Well, it was Antonio Gates, hooped in college. Jimmy Graham,
Kent State, baby.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham
was at the U. He hooped at the U. He played 1 year football his senior year, I believe. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it translates very well. Tony Gonzalez had a stint with the Miami Heat. Yeah.
JJ, did you have any teammates you think could have made it in the NFL?
In the NFL?
Yeah.
I would have to think about that, but certainly the like more muscle massed, explosive players, I think certainly could find a position on an NFL field. I actually played against Jimmy Graham when I was at Duke. He was on the Miami basketball team, and he was a bruiser. So if LeBron James spent a week at your tight end university in Nashville, could you think he would need a week there in a training camp and he could be out on the NFL field?
I think it takes a little bit more than that. But you never know, man. He might just be a natural. We have to see what he can do, in the box, see what he can do with a big lineman in front of him. Who knows? Maybe we'll put him through some blocking drills if we can get him out there, and we can find time to get him to tight end U. Because that's what I'm really interested in. Can he throw a cut block? Can he move a guy? Things like that. That's the fun stuff that we like to see. We know he can go up and get the ball. I mean, that's obvious, right?
What about Zion?
I was just gonna say, man, Zion looks like he's already a football player out there on the court. So I think it would be interesting to see, what kind of position. I can see him more of like a defensive. He moves very, very good laterally. I can see him like a linebacker, defensive end. I don't know what kind of tight end or route running he would have.
It's like a taller Khalil Mack.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a pretty good comparison.
Yeah, you just can't block him. Like, how are you supposed to block him from
Khalil Mack's another hooper. I know he does a lot of stuff in the offseason in terms of hooping.
I want to ask you about this tight end university and why you and Greg Olson and George Kittle, I believe, the three of you guys started this thing.
Yeah.
Before I get some details on it, there's this amazing viral video from last June. I believe it was on the opening night. Greg and George are making some opening remarks to the other four.
I know where you're going. Yeah.
The other 40 guys. And you're just in the background just screaming.
I was pumped, man.
I've heard stories of the Manning brothers used to host a summit down in Louisiana, or I think maybe it was Mississippi, but quarterbacks from college, high school, they'd go down, spend a week with them. And as much as it was about the football, it was also about just getting fucked up and having a good time. And I feel like this video is evidence number one of that.
Yeah, no, we set the bar early. We set the bar high real early, man. I just wanted to bring the energy, man. That was the biggest thing for me, is even when we were hanging out off the field, you know what I mean? Keep the energy up, keep everybody, you know, relaxed and themselves, and kind of, you know, let everybody know, just show your personality around here. We want to see who everybody is and how we can learn from each other and make this a complete discussion all around the board, no matter who's talking, who's trying to teach something. I definitely learned a lot from Kittle, from Olsen. Every single time I'm around those guys, I try and pick their brain. And that was the coolest thing, was being able to see everybody out from under their face mask and just to talk to them about their experiences, what they've been through, and what they got going in their perspective or their respective cities and teams.
I feel like the mini camp is very common in basketball, but it's more with your teammates. I think LeBron just had a little mini camp with the Lakers. I know Damian Lillard's done it a bunch of times. Jameer Nelson used to do it with us in Orlando, but it's always with your teammates. Is there something unique about football that you're willing to impart your wisdom with the peers that play your position?
That's pretty good. I've been asked that question a lot. Like, did I spill the beans or did I hold back a little bit? You know what I mean?
I'm trying to keep my secrets, man. I don't want to give all my secrets away.
There might have been a few guys up there that had that mentality to, you know, not say too much, but just, you know, absorb all the information. I personally, I want the best for the tight end position, man. I have so much love and respect for this, the tight end position ever since I moved. I initially was a quarterback at the University of Cincinnati. So when I made the transition, I really fell in love with the game, like being able to put your hands on somebody and drive block them. And then on top of that, have fun with the ball in your hands when you get the opportunity. So having that much love for it, man, I think that it's the most unique position, especially on the offensive side of the ball, where you get to do a little bit of everything. And you're kind of like the ultimate chess piece in terms of where you can be moved and the type of matchups that you present out there on the field. So I want it to grow. I want it to be known as that. And I don't think, you know, it's like that in every offense, even though I do think there's a lot of guys out here that can handle the weight and the workload of being, you know, a primary guy, on every single down. But I think as it evolves, guys like Kyle Pitts him having success being an early first round pick, and all these young guys that are on the up and the rise, Mark Andrews, Gesicki down there in Miami, you know, all these young guys that have huge potential, Hawkinson, Kittle, you keep naming them, seeing them have the success and their workloads get bigger and bigger. I think that'll do so much for the tight end position. So I was up there, you know, spilling the beans, just trying to give everybody every bit of advantage they could.
When you made that transition in college, had you played tight end prior to that? Was there certain people when you made that transition that you watched film of that you tried to emulate?
Yeah, I mean, countless. I remember watching Zach. I came out in 2013 was the draft. 2012 was my last year. Zach Ertz was a tight end. Kobe Fleener, the Stanford duo back then. You name it. There were so many, and outside of the Antonio Gateses and the Tony Gonzalez's of the NFL, being able to just observe and see, you know, their athleticism and how they approach the game or approach a certain route and stuff like that. I was able to grab pieces from them, but I hadn't played tight end ever in my life. I had done little stuff, you know, just in like football camps, trying to get recruited and trying to get scholarships. a coach might ask me to go run a route and I'd do it. But other than that, I hadn't really played the positions, and it took me a full year and a half to get comfortable running routes and seeing what I was seeing from a different kind of view.
When do you think you figured out the footwork?
Repetition. Just watching wide receivers. We had really good wide receivers at the University of Cincinnati, Armand Binns, Marty Gilliard, and then seeing them going in and out of breaks. The more film I watched, just NFL guys, just seeing how guys get in and out of breaks, seeing how certain tight ends, a guy like Jason Witten's footwork is just so clean and so pure that you can, he's never in a bad situation. Guys typically, a guy like me had wide stance trying to get to a certain guy could be off balance. The better footwork you have, the more balance you have, and you can react to things that much better. Over the course of repetition and stuff like that, you just start to figure out that balance that you need to have out there on the football field. And it's worked for me, man. I've definitely had a lot of success when I made the transition, knowing that it was a whole new experience, man. I was pretty outside of seeing coverage. I was pretty ignorant in terms of my knowledge about the position.
Is there a part of you, just looking at the numbers objectively, you have a shot to go down as maybe like the best tight end of all time? Do you think about that at all?
I got a long way to go. I think there was something that came out. I got 8,000 yards. I might have been one of the fastest to 8,000 yards. And I looked at it and I was like, man, Tony Gonzalez has twice as many yards as me. And I'm 30, I'm turned 32 tomorrow. And I'm just sitting here. I'm like, man, I got a long way to go. Hopefully, these legs don't give out on me anytime soon, man. Because I got that just, shows you how unbelievable Tony Gonzalez was. When I came in, I was already 3 years behind even trying to catch Tony Gonzalez. But to be right now, year 9, and I'm only halfway to his milestone in terms of yards in a career, I'm not trying to set any more of those, or at least I don't have my eyes set on that anytime soon.
Tommy and I on the show, we talk with a bunch of guys who end up coming from unheralded recruiting backgrounds. Guys like Fred VanVleet comes to mind, Damian Lillard, of course, guys that weren't necessarily 5-star recruits in high school.
Yeah,
and I think it's common, but it's not. It's pretty uncommon in basketball. Generally speaking, the 4 and 5-star recruits are the guys that end up panning out and becoming NBA players.
Yeah,
I think there's a good answer to this, but it seems like in football, I don't know if it's guys changing positions or just growing, but it seems like there's a real disconnect. I mean, you were a 2-star recruit in high school. I was watching the game last night between the Bucks and the Pats, and they do the thing where the offensive line, whoever gets the ball first, they say their college, and legitimately, like the Bucks offensive line, I knew 2 of the colleges. I didn't even know 3 of the colleges.
I'm telling you.
Why do you think there's that disconnect in high school recruiting in terms of the rankings?
I think there's a few things. One, there's no AAU for football. So getting that understanding of, guys throughout the entire, year, you really only get to see them play 10 to 15 games in high school to really see them get that much game film on them. I think that kind of hides a lot of guys, but I also think, the weight room, just guys developing how they grow. The weight room itself can make a guy a 5-star or make a guy a 3-star to a 5-star. I remember all the guys that were doing, bench press 20 times out of high school. Those guys were getting the offers. And I think, I know I was not a guy that was in the weight room when I was in high school. But it's just, I think there's that. And then, maybe unique opportunities, unique situations where, the offensive side of the ball just doesn't suit them as well as the defensive side does. And sometimes when you switch sides of the ball, you switch a position, you see it from a different perspective. When I moved to tight end, I was seeing the game through a quarterback's lens. I can't not look at the safety and understand the coverage. That's just how I was trained and how my routine of thought has always been walking up to the line of scrimmage. So I'm thinking like a quarterback. I'm thinking the timing, like when I'm running my route, he's in a three-step hitch. Now he has to get the ball out or there's somebody coming after him right now. those kind of things are in my head as I'm running my route to try and, just be accountable and reliable to a quarterback throughout the play. So sometimes that transition into another position, whether it be offense or defense, wherever it is, can be better for you. I know it might have helped out my brother in terms of him being a linebacker in college. And when he moved to offensive line, he sees defense's structure like it's different. I remember joking around with him. He's told me he was looking at the safeties, and I'm like, what do you have to do? Why are you looking at the safeties? And he was like, well, safety rotation tells you everything. It tells you where guys are going to be, how they're going to fill their gaps, and things like that. And that also helped me in terms of my growth, understanding defenses.
Did you know much about Coach Reed before you got to Kansas City?
I mean, obviously, just from his time being the Eagles head coach with McNabb, and then him given the chance for Vic to come in Philly. And I think, that was my brother got drafted while Vic was getting brought onto the team. And I thought that was always cool, man. My brother's taking snaps from the Michael Vick, man. Are you kidding me? That's sweet. And then I got to meet him when I played Temple. That was probably the first time that I actually got to meet him. His son played for Temple, and we played at Lincoln Financial, which is the Eagles Stadium. But I really didn't know too much about him. And I definitely didn't think that they were interested in a tight end when I was going through like the draft process.
Where does your brother and your personality come from? You both, I follow you on IG. I think we've exchanged messages before. Yeah. But like your IG is a fun follow because you're out there, you're living your life, you're getting your fits off.
Thank you for that, man.
Jason had this amazing viral moment when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. You guys, it just seems like you guys have incredible confidence and incredible personality. And the best way to describe it is like both of you seem like you're living your best life.
I appreciate that. I definitely think we are, man. My brother being in a tougher Philly market, as you know, he reeled it back a little bit after his first couple of years. But I think I don't know what he's going to do when he's done playing, but I can see him stepping into something on camera and just thriving because of how smart he is and how witty he is. And I can agree with you, man. I think we're just two guys that love to live life. Our parents gave us a beautiful childhood. And me and him, we had a lot of competitive days. So we know how to compete. We know how to talk trash, and we know how to have fun.
I was going to ask what the old shit talking was like.
It was pretty, at least I thought it was good. It was for the most part, he got the wins. I'll give him that, but I would sneak in one every now and then, and boy, I'd never let him hear it down. The ones that really matter nowadays are the ones we get to play in the NFL like we did yesterday. And I'm 3-0 ever since we got in the league. So I'll have bragging rights at Thanksgiving forever.
I want to ask you about just playing in the NFL in comparison a little bit to what I went through for 15 years and playing in the NBA. We play a ton of games. It's 82 games during the season. We live in a very reactionary culture. Every game you're judged. The beautiful thing about our sport, I always felt like if you had a bad game, you threw up a clunker, there was a game either the next day or the day after. It was such a quick turnaround. It was so easy to flush things. And you play a sport where you play once a week. And I turned on ESPN this morning. It was 4 straight hours of NFL coverage. Every player, game just being dissected over and over again.
Yeah.
What is your sort of coping mechanism with living under that sort of spotlight and always being talked about, always being dissected, your performance always being judged literally 24/7 for 4 or 5 months out of the year?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. That's something I definitely had to grow with. When I first got into the league, I ended up having a knee surgery that didn't allow me to play my first year. So I was already in my mind behind the 8 ball. I was behind on everything. I couldn't, I had a lot of catching up to do in terms of my career and who, I wanted to be known as one of the greats. So I felt like I was kind of behind in terms of that. And I made football everything, man. I was eating, drinking, just breathing football all day, every day. And when it came down to game time, or it came down to a certain play where I needed to make that big play, and if I didn't make it, it ripped me down. It tore me apart. It made me, it made me upset, and it made me not enjoy what I was doing for a living in a sense, right? So what I had to do is I had to not make every single situation everything. So I kind of had to take a breather and just relax and really just control the energy and the roller coaster that I was going on emotionally. We want to get to mental toughness and mental health and things like that. That is a huge part of, me relaxing and becoming myself in the game of football, was understanding that, I can't make this game everything. It's just a game. I have to put, the work in. I have to do what I got to do throughout the week to make sure that I'm ready for those opportunities, but I can't make it everything. And on top of that, it's a long game, man. It's a long season. Getting upset about a call that didn't get made in the first quarter of the third game of the season, that's, just thinking about that the next Wednesday, that's just unhealthy. You let it go, move on, try and get better because of it, and just, create those instincts of always having an upper hand the next time.
What is the environment like in terms of the teaching culture, or even the timing? You play Sunday, you got a game next Sunday. How much time is spent rehashing what just happened versus looking ahead? And does that vary if it's a win or a loss?
No, I think every single week, at least in the Kansas City building, the only place I've been and understand how things go. Under Coach Reed, every Tuesday we'll review. It'll be a review position by position, and you'll go through the game you just played, and then you'll just jump straight into thoughts and how we could attack our next opponent. And Coach Reed will come into a team meeting, present the issues at hand or the issues we have to fix in terms of review, or he'll talk about the things that we need to continue to do well. And then he'll go into the next week or the next opponent, and he'll present a weekly challenge to, this is what we have to get better at. This is what we have to focus on. And this is how we're going to attack this team. And I mean, it's flawless if you ask me, because it gives you a good understanding of, how you need to get better, and then and how we need to attack and play on game day.
I was going to say, when you're talking about the pressure and sort of the mental health component to this, do you think that has gotten tougher in a way because of how successful you guys have been? Like, I mean, even this year, you're 2-2 right now, but after last week when you were 1-2, it was like every pundit was coming out of the woodwork being like, what's wrong with these guys? It's like the season just started. I mean, and you've been through every type of season there is, and so you've seen this before. Yeah. Does that just come with the expectations of going to the Super Bowl the last 2 years?
Without a doubt. I think we all have high expectations for ourselves. Obviously, you heard Pat say, go undefeated this year before the season started. I think that's, everybody's goal before the season is to go undefeated, right? You never plan to lose anything or any game. But that's the mentality that you got to have. And I don't know, the further along you go throughout the season, especially for the young guys, you start to understand the flow of how the team needs to play. And if you look at those first few games that we played that we lost, in terms of the Baltimore Ravens and the Chargers, it wasn't anything, at least in our mind, that they were doing that really, screwed us up or made us, lose. It was our mistakes. And that's how, you have to look at it, is like, what can we do? What can we control? And like the turnovers, the aired routes, the drop passes, the tackles, things like that. Like, what can we do? And if we fix those things, now let's see where we match up against the team. And that's the mentality you have to have. And then you have to have great leadership in the building. Don't let anything fall astray. Just keep coming in, hacking at the wood, and finding ways to get better as a team and as a unit.
Tommy, to follow up on your question, from my perspective, and Travis, feel free to chime in here, but I felt like dealing with this sort of scrutiny, dealing with the ups and downs of the season, it just takes years. As a player, from my perspective, when you're a young player, you're literally trying to figure things out.
100%. Yeah.
And as you get into the cadence of a season, and then an off season, and then another season, and then an off season, there's just a maturity and a confidence that builds. And ultimately what you end up doing, I hate to use the Sixers phrase here, but you end up just trusting the process. And so all the things that you're talking about are the same things that, I dealt with. And a lot of it is, all right, let's figure out where we went wrong, where we can be better, but we got to move on to the next thing. And you have to have sort of a short-term memory and learn from each game. But that literally took me like 4 years to figure out. It took me 4 years till I got to the point where I was super confident.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And honestly, for me, it was confidence on the field that kind of it was the failures, and then persevering through that, finding a way to win the next one, finding a way to if there was a catch that I didn't make the game before, 2 games before, making that catch later on in the season, and feeling that routine or that process that you're talking about, that professional routine of working on the things that you got to do. It definitely took me a few years to feel confident in what I was doing out there on the field and what I was seeing out there on the field. My first couple of years in the league, I was looking at all these defenses like, man, there's got to be 12 dudes out. There's got to be 15 guys on that. There's guys everywhere. I don't know. How did they – what is going on out here? And I finally figured out to just calm down, see the safety, see what you're or trust what you're seeing. And just go out there and play fast. And once you start to get into that routine, like you said, that process, everything starts to come a little more natural.
Was there a big jump in this sort of the speed though, early on in your career? Because I found that it was very hard for me to sort of slow down and see everything. If I was supposed to do something, I did it too fast, or I would do it too quickly, and it wasn't at the right timing. And even I didn't play a ton of pickup when I played. And so when I would come back for training camp, pickup in preseason, whatever it was, first few preseason games, there was a huge adjustment in timing for me because the speed was so different. So it's different from college to the pros. And then it's different from doing your routes, or for me, it was shooting a basketball in the off season.
Without a doubt. And it actually took me a year or two to figure out what they meant by this. It's faster. What is the speed? Guys are running 4.3s. Almost everybody in the league is running 4.3. Cool. It's not necessarily that. It's the thought process. It's when you walk up to the line of scrimmage, how fast are you seeing what the other side of the ball is doing, and you're understanding exactly how to attack it. Having those instincts, those faster instincts, how you want to attack a certain coverage, and how you want to attack a certain block. That it was all the mental part was what the speed was for me. I feel like in terms of my first year or two, I was running around. I'm like, man, I can still run past some of these guys. I can still run as fast as I don't know what they're talking about, the speed. And then all of a sudden guys are hitting me quicker than I expected. I'm just like, man, he's getting an extra start because he has a tick. He has something in his head, in his mind, that he's an indicator where he's moving faster or seeing it quicker than me. And that's what it really is just understanding that mentally it's a faster game than it really is. And that really makes everybody else physically faster, I guess.
That's such a great way to put it, because for me, it was always each possession I had to process multiple things: defensive coverages. Where am I supposed to be? Where's the shift happening? Offensively, how am I being guarded? Where's the screening angle? All this stuff that early on I just couldn't pick up quick enough. And once the game itself didn't slow down, but my brain was able to process things at a quicker pace, so it felt like it slowed down. I think that makes sense.
Without a doubt, man. And that's what those reps, all those training camp and practice reps, and all the game reps that you accumulated over the years, that's what really makes the game slow down for you, right? Is just understanding, having an instinctual decision in your hip pocket because you've seen this type of situation before.
Travis, we asked this to a lot of the NBA guys when they come on the show, but are there defensive players, linebackers, whatever, that you, when you're playing against them, you're like, this guy is just on another planet? Whether you've played against him for the first time or you've played against him for years, and and you're just like, from an athleticism standpoint, from a just sort of physicality standpoint, you can't believe they're a step above everybody else.
Man, Luke Kuechly was that guy. It seemed like he knew every single play that we were going to run, man. That just goes with countless amount of film study, understanding some of the calls, and really just having a good natural feel for communication on the other side of the ball. and Luke, I mean, I remember him calling out run plays, pass plays. He's telling everybody what to do. And when you got a guy like that, that's physically, an absolute beast. I mean, he's ready to run through a wall any point in the game if needed. And on top of that, he can run with anybody in terms of speed. That dude was pretty brilliant. On top of that, JJ Watt. I was about to say JJ Redick, man. That dude's a beast too. Watch out for the three, baby.
I could have played quarterback.
Oh, nice, man. You got an arm, you got a cannon over there?
Yeah,
Travis, he claims he also claimed he could have played professional baseball. This is an ongoing theme on the show.
Nice.
Based on no evidence, by the way.
I'm going to say one thing about that. I truly believe if you understand how, like we were talking about that process, if you understand that professional process and you have, just a good instinct or a good feel for the game, me personally, I think I could have played in all three. If I would have figured out some handles, maybe drop some weight. I was always like 230, 6'5", 230, 6'5", 250. I think if I might have got down to like 200, man, I might have been able to move a little quicker laterally in the handles. But I mean, I like to dream big.
A couple things on that. First of all, Tommy, I can't help it that I have a cannon. And then secondly,
so did you play baseball?
Yeah, I quit in like middle school, but I have this thing where I'm going to try at some point. I got to find a gun, but I just want to break 80 right now. I think I can break 80 no problem.
He claimed definitively he would have made it to the MLB if he had stuck with it.
I didn't say definitively MLB. I said I would have played professional baseball because there's a big jump from AA, AAA to the big leagues. I said I would have played professional baseball, and by the way, Tommy, since that episode came out, all my buddies that I grew up with that also played professional baseball, they all co-signed that statement.
Shocker.
And the second thing I was going to say to Travis's comment is that I love just the hubris, the confidence that professional athletes have. That I can sit here and say I could have been a professional baseball player, and Travis could sit here and say I could have gone pro in all three had I concentrated.
I mean, if you ask me, I could still be a pro golfer. You just got to give me the time. I got to work at it,
13 years to make the senior tour. That's what I'm going for.
Speaking of cannons, what was your first impression of Pat like?
To be honest, my first impression was like, man, this guy, he's not, I don't want to say it in any bad way, but he was a relatable guy. He's not, full of himself. A lot of quarterbacks have a certain, prestige, or not a prestige, a certain, I don't know, just like aura and swagger that, they're confident in their ability. And I don't know, I didn't expect anything. I was just, appreciative that he was a relatable guy and he was just, another dude. I think he got a lot of a good understanding when he used to go to the locker room with his dad when his dad played in the MLB, and he would be in that locker room atmosphere. And I think he really understood how to relate to a lot of different people, especially the MLB and how diverse it is in the MLB. And I think that helped him understand and be a relatable guy. And I mean, just a good dude, man. Just a good dude.
His first full season as a starter, he threw for 50 touchdown passes. Did you see that coming?
No, I knew we were going to be good. I knew there wasn't going to be anything, wrong or anything bad about Pat coming in and taking the ranks. But I did not see 50 touchdowns and us just taking over the NFL like we did. That was all a lot of fun. It was, every other play felt like a bomb to Tyreek Hill, and boom, we were on the board yet again. And it was just it was a fun ride, and it feels like we haven't gotten off ever since he got here, man. I kind of make this comment. It was like Alex Smith, the quarterback before he got there, when he had the keys to the car, man. It was like, yeah, he was playing good tunes. We were riding around and enjoying the ride, cruising around. And he would play some bangers, and then all of a sudden Pat came in, and then he would turn. His stereo had nothing but new songs that you hadn't heard before. They were all just headbangers, and everybody's loving it. And it was just like, man, where are we going? It don't matter, man. We're riding, baby. And like I said, man, it's just ever since he kind of took over a quarterback, it's like we've just been on this ride that it's endless, man. It's a lot of fun.
Besides his demeanor, as you mentioned, and his DJing skills, what makes him what makes him so special? What is it about him besides the cannon? Because obviously there's a lot of guys that can throw it really far and throw it really hard, but he's special. And what is that reason?
It's just his ability to work, man. He's a workhorse. He's the first one in the building, the last one out. A guy that is nonstop trying to, create those instincts that we were talking about earlier, to always have a plan, no matter what coverage they're in. Understand where he needs to go with the ball, understand how he needs to protect himself so he can get rid of the ball on time. He's always trying to find ways to get better and to find a way to have an upper hand on every single play. And I think that's what really separates him. That and the communication, man. The ability to communicate to guys on the field, letting them know this is how I see things kind of unfolding here and there. What that does for a guy, makes him feel comfortable and confident in what he's doing. Now all of a sudden he's not coming out of the break like, does he want me in this area? Precisely where you need to be and when you need to be there. And that's huge in terms of being the leader.
Badlands, the anthology series from Jake Brennan, creator and host of the award-winning music and true crime podcast Disgraceland, is back. Badlands Season 2 Sportsland launches on September 22nd with more edge-of-your-seat stories that blend hardcore history, true crime, and transgressive fiction. In Badlands Season 1 Hollywoodland, Jake told you the untold stories of Hollywood royalty. And now, with Badlands Season 2 Sportsland, Jake explores wild tales and crimes from some of the most famous athletes in the world.
He'll look at the shocking rise and fall of sports legends like Mike Tyson, Oscar Pistorius, and Aaron Hernandez. He'll also uncover some dark tales like the shocking murder of downhill skiing sensation Spider Savage, the complicated mythology of outfielder Ty Cobb, and why boxer Sonny Liston's ties to organized crime drew the ire of none other than Attorney General Robert Kennedy. Wow.
If you love true crime, sports, and Disgraceland, then you're going to love Sportsland. This sounds like a great listen. Listen to Sportsland and the shocking rise and fall of sports legends every Wednesday, everywhere podcasts are available, or binge the whole season now exclusively on Amazon Music. Making content is an essential part of what I do to keep this show going, and anyone who has a podcast or posts regularly know it's not an easy and seamless creative process. But with Canva Pro, you can design anything like a pro on any device. Canva Pro is a design platform that empowers you to create and share stunning content in just a few clicks, and it's amazingly fast and fun. You can choose from thousands of templates that are easy to customize or start from scratch.
Canva Pro has endless premium fonts, photos, videos, and so much more that add personality and edge to whatever you're designing. And designing together has never been easier with sharing, editing, and commenting in real time. Canva Pro helps you stay organized, on the same page, and on top of team projects. No more misplaced files or tedious back and forth.
Plus, you and 4 teammates can unlock everything Canva Pro has to offer for just $12.99 a month. With Canva Pro's Content Planner, you'll save time planning, creating, and posting social media content too. You can pause scheduled posts and edit them at any time. Design like a pro with Canva Pro. Right now, you can get a free, I said it again, you can get a free 45-day extended trial when you use my promo code. Just go to canva.me/oldman to get your free 45-day extended trial. That's canva.me/oldman, canva.me/oldman. I'm really curious because I played in the finals in 2009, but from a player's perspective, you win the conference championship. You've got 2 weeks. There's that build up to the big game. Just that experience, what memories you had, what your thought process was. Did the game feel different than any other game? Just like I think it'd be cool for you to just talk about like what it's like to play in a Super Bowl, which is the most watched sporting event in the world.
Yeah, no, that's
maybe in the U.S. There may be a cricket match in India that gets more views, but I don't hold me to that.
Touche, man. You never know, man. Who knew that cricket was that common or that known? No, I think going into my first Super Bowl in Miami, it was wild. It was a media tour that I had never been on in my life. Every single day, it felt like there was a new headline and a new piece to the puzzle. And then on top of that, once we got to Miami, it was an hour of media every single day leading up to that Friday, I think. And then we finally got to just think about the game or just kind of relax and not have to deal with any of the media. Fast forwarding it to the Tampa Bay Super Bowl with COVID and everything, it was crickets, man. It was very quiet. We had a media session but it was 20 minutes on a Zoom call or something like that, 30 minutes on a Zoom call, I think. And it was kind of watered down. I don't want to say it was a, that's why we lost or anything like that. We went out there and got our, you know, got dragged through the mud a little bit for 4 quarters, but outside of that, it was a dull atmosphere. It just didn't feel like the biggest sporting event in the world, or one of the biggest sporting events in the world. It kind of just felt like, the ending of a season and a game. So I definitely appreciated the Miami one more just because of the W, but definitely the experience going down to Miami, which is a huge city. We're in Kansas City 90% of the year. So it's like going from a small city to the big lights of Miami, and to see everybody at the game when you're there. I mean, the who's who was down there in Miami. They had cameras on Jay-Z and DJ Khaled, you name it, man. Everybody was in that thing. I think you even saw David Beckham enjoying some American football.
Are you amazed that Tom is still able to do this?
I don't necessarily know if I'm amazed. I'm just I respect it, and more so than I'm amazed by it. I think they're hats off to him for even being in the shape and the health that he needs to be able to play at that age. I mean, yes, last night you even saw him throwing his body around trying to get first downs, and he still looks like he's got plenty left in the tank. It's just it's pretty cool to see that somebody has loved the game enough to want to play until the wheels fall off, and sure enough, the success that he has, he's got a knack for finding ways to win every single game he's in, man.
We always ask this to switch back to Pat for a second. We always ask this about Steph to the NBA guys about just like holy shit plays where they're used to seeing sort of crazy stuff every day, but he does something every couple games where they just can't believe it. What's your favorite one of those with him? Because he's got a bunch of them.
Man, Mahomes, I would say it was his first year starting. He was there's 2 plays, man. We're playing the Baltimore Ravens. We're down, I think, 3 points with 2 minutes left. I don't think we have any timeout. It might have been less than a minute left on the board, and we're down by 3, or 3 or 4. I couldn't even tell you, but it's 4th down and 9, I think. And Pat just out of nowhere, he starts to roll out and he just throws it into the middle of the field. And I'm kind of open on the play, so I'm like, we can get the sure first down, and then we can try and clock it, or stop the clock some other way. And he just hucks it. I'm just like, 3rd and 9, that's the risk that we're throwing it deep? What are we? And sure enough, I mean, it was like a perfect little triangle of Ravens defenders, and then Tyreek Hill just coming straight in and catching the ball on the run, and then finding a way to get out of bounds with seconds on the clock. For him to have the understanding, the wherewithals, the cojones, whatever you want to call it, to make that kind of play in that kind of moment in the NFL against that team. That team had a great defense that year, and persevere us through to win that game. That was definitely one of the biggest moments. And then in Denver, it was like a Sunday night game, 4th and 1, a similar situation where it's coming down to the wire, and he's rolling out with Von Miller breathing down his neck, and he just puts the ball in his left hand because he knew Von could swat at his right, and he throws it left-handed to Tyreek for a first down. Again, just to have that instinct in the back of your mind, be like, well, I mean, I could get it to him lefty here if I really need to. For him to go out there and play that free, that's when you know that it's he's special, man.
There's a little bit of Kobe to his game. Just
without a doubt, man.
Being willing to try shit on the field in live action. It's pretty cool to watch. I want to make one comment about Tom Brady. I had this thought last night as I was watching the game. A lot of athletes, they use the Benjamin Button analogy as athletes age, and they keep playing at a high level. Oh, it's Benjamin Button. But like, Tom really is the real life Benjamin Button, and it would not surprise me if in his 60s he looked like a teenager. Because somehow that motherfucker at 44
he just keeps getting younger, man.
Looks younger than when he was 28. I don't understand it. I don't know,
man. I want to get on his nutrition plan, man. I don't know what it is, man, but I want to eat what he's eating. It's that. I mean, like you just said it right there. His ability to still be in his prime, going into age 40, man. It's remarkable.
Before we let's go, I got one more question for you. There was a play yesterday where you were acting like you didn't know what the call was. You know, and you're doing this.
Still have no idea what play that was.
You seriously? you had to have been acting.
I'm not going to sit here lying to you. Yeah, no, that was a full performance.
So this is the part for me that, like, I said this to Tommy before you got on today. I was like, if I was a quarterback, I would have so much fun. And we used to do this with the Clippers because we had smart enough players, CP, DJ, Blake, where we would just fuck with people. We would just fuck with people. Yeah. And that's got to be, we were talking earlier about the mental side of things and having things slow down, but that's got to be sort of one of the fun things about the game right now for you, is that you're so smart, you figured it out, and you can just go out there and fuck with people a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's definitely been something that's grown, the chemistry that we have in this offense. Coach Reed lets us have that personality out there on the field. And I mean, during practice, whenever the defense is going through scout team and stuff like that, like as an offense, we're creating stuff. We're thinking of goal line plays that'll work. And some of them manifest into touchdowns. Other of them get thrown in the trash, but we're nonstop trying to figure out, ways to get in the end zone. And, if it comes down to, hey, why don't you just act like you don't know what you're doing? And then, the oldest trick in the book, create confusion, create a scene, and then just sneak in the back door. Why don't we try that one out real quick? And sure enough, Jody Forts and my guy at tight end had a walk-in touchdown, man. But it's fun, going out there and playing with this team, knowing that we got a lot of guys that understand the game. And then guys like Tyreek Hill who can just take off on anybody at any single moment. It's a lot of fun, and kind of Pat leads that charge of everybody being comfortable and being confident out there on the field.
That's great. Travis, we appreciate the time. This has been a lot of fun. I just want to throw one thing out there. I just, as a reminder, I did retire a couple weeks ago. And
yes, congratulations,
thank
man.
you. So when you guys win the Super Bowl this year and you start going on your off-season golf trips, hit me up. I got nothing to do. Would be happy to tag along if you need a
Let's do it, man.
We're coming to KC. We're doing a road trip. We're coming to a game.
Let's do it. I'll bring the gun. We'll see how fast you can huck one too.
Yes, absolutely. All right, man. Appreciate it.
You know it, JJ.